When I was 26, I had been working too hard, playing too hard. It was the 1980s, and I ended up with Hashimoto's after I burned out my adrenal glands. So Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease of the thyroid, and we usually see it show up with things like shitty sleep, shitty energy, shitty weight. That's how it usually shows up. Now, I chose at the time not to be medicated. I chose, the doctors wanted me to take these drugs, and I chose to see a natural therapist instead. Now, I just want to say I'm not giving any medical advice. You get to make your own choices, but do your research and make your own choices, okay? So I was so inspired with how this practitioner was able to help me that it led me to quit everything, quit my job, quit everything. And I went back to school and I studied to be a naturopath, and I put all my specialty into how the adrenal glands influence our body systems. So I'm coming to you, talking to you as a naturopath, and we look at stuff differently. That's why it's important. Listen to your doctor and make your own choices. I made my choices, and I'm really happy with what I did. And I'm going to talk today about how I've managed my thyroid for the last, long time, over 30 years. So as a naturopath, we look behind. We don't just go, oh, this is what's not working, so let's just treat that. We go the step behind. And in Chinese medicine, we say that, thyroid and adrenal glands work together, the same as reproductive system and adrenals work together. So if a woman comes to me with crappy periods, I don't just give her something for the crappy periods. I go the step behind. I see what the adrenal glands are doing, what the stress levels have been like that could be influencing that reproductive system. So the same with thyroid. So what I studied and what I learned was that it wasn't just a case of me taking a desiccated, animal's, thyroid or something like this to be able to manage mine. I wasn't interested in those kind of things, or a synthetic kind of drug. I chose to work the way, a naturopath helped me, which was very much on looking at the body as a whole, and to absolutely, look long-term, not a short-term. Hey, let's just fix this. I wanted to get my body back in balance so that my thyroid would naturally start playing the game. And that's what I've done. So here we go. I want to get into this. How do we manage our thyroid? For me, I manage my Hashimoto's and thyroid by working with adaptogen herbs, which I bang on about all the time because it's so relevant in my life and so relevant for so many people, because people do stress, worry, overwork and everything too much. And it shows up with different physical symptoms. But they also, I'm big on having iodine-rich foods in my diet and my lifestyle. So let's see. If we really wanted to think of the core basics to support our thyroid and our adrenal glands which sit behind it, if I thought of the number one thing we need to do is we have to get enough sleep. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole sleep story on this today, but you can go back to episode 1 of my podcasts and have a listen, because I just do everything about sleep and burnout in that episode. Go back and listen to episode 1. But bottom line, our adrenal glands need between 7 and 9 hours good sleep a night to recharge our adrenals. If we want to help our thyroid, we have to sleep well by having our adrenal glands feel supported. That's sleep. So we also need to avoid stimulants. Now, if someone is having 4 coffees a day for them to be able to deal with the stress of life, me saying don't have any coffee is going to bloody stress them out. That doesn't achieve anything. So I'll say reduce or eliminate the stimulants that are taxing the adrenal glands. Remember, the adrenal glands sit behind the thyroid, and just coping and coping and coping by having more stimulants is not going to help your body. We need to support our adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are little glands that sit on the top of our kidneys. It's where we produce our stress hormones. And like I say, in Chinese medicine, we say they are the core of your being. They tell everything what to do. They tell your reproductive system what to do. They tell our thyroid what to do. We want to look after them. And adaptogens are a class of herbs that we use that help our body adapt to the stresses of life. So they are the most essential herbs in the world for me. I have taken adaptogen herbs for 30 years, not necessarily for treating anything, but to come from a place of prevention. I don't wait to have my body go, I'm stressed. I support my body in advance, and I do that with adaptogen herbs. So I'll put a link in the show note to check out the tonics that I take. I've got a couple of different adaptogens that I use. I'll put a link in the show notes. We also need to move our body. Moving our body is a really important way to channel stress. And so helping our thyroid, helping our adrenals, we still need to move our body. But this is when you don't go flogging yourself. You don't go and do, a 10K run. You don't go and flog yourself in big gym exercise. It's about doing, and again, it's a Chinese medicine thinking. We want to do things like Qigong, Tai Chi, Pilates, yoga, restorative exercises that that move our body, absolutely pump our blood, pump our lymphatic system. There's strength, natural weight-bearing exercises. However, they don't tax our body. Really different game. So if you have got a tired body and you're thinking, oh, I want to lose this weight and get some energy back because my thyroid's out of whack, stop flogging yourself in the gym. It's not going to serve you. Okay, get moving, but do things like qigong, tai chi, Pilates, yoga. And in fact, I'll throw a link in the show notes. My wife is actually a qigong and yoga teacher. I'll put a couple of links there to a couple of her classes. Just free online. You can have a look. And there's a really good seated yoga one. There's some really cool things there. And I'll actually put a link to one of her guided meditations, which will help relax you as well. Okay. So go to the show notes at www.healthylifehacks.com.au to be able to check that out. I'll put the link in with this anyway. We also need to hydrate our body properly. So I've done plenty of episodes of podcasts on water, but water counts as water, herb tea counts as water. So we need about 33 ml per kilo per day. And really most people are needing about 3 liters of water a day. And they go, I can't drink 3 liters of water a day, Jen. You can. It's just a glass an hour. It's actually not a lot, but we're so out of the habit of doing it. So that's that. They're the core basics we want to look at. So I want to talk a little bit about nutrition as well, because there is a few, just a little, not even a handful, but a class of foods on this planet that I have regularly in my diet because I know they support my thyroid. So, well, I'm talking about iodine-rich foods. And you could say, well, I have iodized salt, Jen. Well, I don't like iodized salt, guys. I'd rather have it straight from nature the way it is from a food source. So the first one, these are all seaweeds. And you go, oh, seaweed, Jen, seaweed. No, it's not like that. They're all good. The first one is agar-agar. Now, agar-agar is a clear, flavorless, comes as a powder in a packet. It's the easiest way to get it. And I put about a teaspoon into, a cup of herb tea. And you don't taste it, but as you're drinking your cup of tea, drink the cup of tea. If you drink it too slow, it's going to start to set like gelatin. It will start to get thicker. And this is because agar it's a really good form of indigestible fiber. So it's really good for bowel waste and bulk and everything like that, for the removal of wastes. Really good. But make sure you have 3 liters of water a day. So if you're having your right amount of water, it all works anyway. But agar is great. It's also, it helps to lower the GI of a meal. So really good. If you've got blood sugar issues, this is just a great food source, but you can have it in a drink, or you can add it to foods that you want to have a little bit of thickening with. It helps to dissolve cholesterol by calming the liver and absorbing bile. It really does. Seriously, that the Eastern eating is just so different to us, our Western world. But it's also important in weight loss, if you're wanting it for that, to help mobilize energy as stored fat. And it helps it to release it into the bloodstream. So a lot of people who have low thyroid conditions, weight gain is a problem with them. So that's a side benefit. So a teaspoon a day. And it's also, I'm veggie, but it's a vegan source of collagen, which is great for joints. So I also like it just for, wear and tear on knees and fingers and just joints and things. So that's one. The next one is nori sheet, another kind of seaweed. So this is the one that's used in sushi. That black looking kind of paper thin, dryish, seaweed that you find wrapped around sushi. Sushi's good for you. When I go to Korea and I go to the supermarkets, the Asian supermarkets here in Australia, and I can buy little packets of those seaweed sheets. And in Korea, it's a real thing. They'll have them as a snack, or you can crumble them up and put them on your. There's a lot of birds around today. You might be able to hear the big birds, making their sounds in the background. But the nori is a great one that you can just kind of crumble it all up, and it gives a great texture and a saltiness to a salad or something like that. So 10-gram serving of dried nori sheets, okay, the ones that are used in sushi, contains about 232 micrograms of iodine. That's more than 1.5 times of the daily required amount. Like, it's so easy by eating sushi to be able to get enough iodine. Yes, and iodine is needed for the thyroid to work properly. Another one that I really like is, and I just had some on my lunch today, is wakame, the seaweed salad from Japan. If you go to a Japanese restaurant, they have the most beautifully vibrant green salad with sesame seeds and things in it. It's a pickled seaweed. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So It helps to lower cholesterol, decrease blood pressure. It helps with weight loss and reduces blood sugars as well. Again, all the seaweeds play the same kind of game. And it's a really nice source of iodine, about 42 micrograms, which is about 28% of the recommended daily intake. So your wakame, which is your Japanese seaweed salad, has a bit less than the dried sushi sheets. But imagine a few days a week, well and truly a few days a week, you're getting some seaweed in your diet. It tastes great, and it's an easy addition. Go to your local Asian supermarkets, Asian grocers, and you'll be able to find those kind of things there. So the healthy life hack is pretty simple. Look into what maybe you're doing with your diet. And if you have some kind of low thyroid issue, maybe you want to bring some seaweeds into your weekly diet to stay on top of your intake diet. But we all actually need iodine, which is why it's added to salts in the marketplace. So seaweed is just a great food to bring in as part of your regular routine in life. And I'm also a huge fan of adaptogen tonics. Like I said earlier, I've been taking adaptogens for more than 3 decades, not necessarily for treating, but absolutely also for prevention. Why wait to get sick? So go to the show notes, www.healthylifehacks.com.au, and I'll give you a couple of links to those things. See ya.